If you're having sales objections, this is literally the easiest way to overcome every objection that shows up in your sales process. First off, make a list of all the ones that are currently being asked of you. I gotta talk to my wife. I gotta go figure out if I can afford this. Whatever it is, make the list.
Definitely good. If you're doing any type of sales, kind of being premeditated about thinking about what type of objections you might get, obviously, that'll help you respond to them when they come. Totally agree so far.
Here's the kicker. Make sure you ask every one of those questions in the sales process. See, professional salespeople deal with the objections in the discovery phase so they don't come up at the end.
So kind of agree, but here's the thing. Sometimes you can't ask every objection at the discovery phase or at the beginning of the sales process. Sometimes they're just going to come up. So while I do agree that making a list and figuring out what all these objections might be and being prepared to tackle them and kind of getting ahead of them and asking those questions before they come up, I think the best thing you could also do is make sure you're focused on value. It's not just about objection handling, right? Because if you haven't really articulated the value and connected that value to a pain or some sort of a business gain or benefit they're trying to achieve, overcoming objections isn't really going to matter. So I do agree. Pre-thinking about what these objections might be is important. But I think what's even more important is remaining on track and talking about value and building that value case. Because no matter how many objections you premeditate and you prepare for, if you're not focused on the value and doing a good job at that, handling the objections is kind of going to be a futile exercise.
Amateurs don't do that, and then they deal with objection whack-a-mole where it's like, they said this and I overcame that, and then they brought this thing up and I gotta whack that thing down. No. Front load it in discovery. That way at the end, you might have one objection. It's like, well, I have this one question. Guess what? Add it to your list. Ask it next time you get on a sales call.
Yeah, so that objection whack-a-mole example he gave, obviously nobody wants to feel like they're chasing the sales cycle, right? You want to be in control. What really helps along with being able to be a good objection handler is like what I just said. If you build a really strong value case, that will minimize the number of objections, because the idea is if the value that they're looking to gain outweighs these knee-jerk reaction objections like price, I got to ask my wife, I got to do this, I got to do that, there's going to be less objections because that value case is much stronger. Anyways, agree with some of the stuff in this video. Great tips.